Hello friends, in this video I will be talking about Flex and how you can use Flex to do the layout in your HTML pages. Flex is very flexible as the name indicates, and it's very powerful concept in HTML and CSS. So I will give you one example with which I will explain how Flex can help you do the layouts very easily. So as you can see on this screen, we have got this navbar at the top, and then at the bottom we have got these three boxes with blue borders. So I will explain how you can do this kind of layout. It is very common layout in every web application. You will find navbar and the call boxes basically. So let us see how you can do that. So if you inspect these elements on the bottom side of the screen in elements panel, you will see the HTML, and you can see here there is a navbar at the top. Okay, first of all let us cover navbar, and then this is the main content. So inside the nav there is a div, okay, with the class navbar, and if you look at this CSS properties, display is flex. So if you want to arrange elements inside the div box, then you can put this display as flex. So once you put a display as flex, what happens is you have greater control on the children of this particular div, and that's why flex is very important. You can arrange the children very easily, like left side, right side, or with space between them, space around them. So it's very easy to arrange the children. That's why we have to give the display properties flex. Then margin auto is very important again if you want to center the div. So if I uncheck this, you can see it is not getting at the center. So if you want to put this at the center, you have to put the margin property as auto. Then max width I have given 900 pixels. So even if screen is very huge, it doesn't matter. The maximum width for this navbar will be 900 pixels. So depending upon your application use cases, you can decide like what will be the max width for your application, and accordingly you can give max width. Don't give the width property. If you give width property, what happens is that on the smaller screen, obviously on the smaller screen the width is very like it is very less, so it won't fit properly on the smaller screens. That's why you have to give the max width. So if you give max width, what happens is that on the smaller devices like mobile, it will adjust accordingly, right? Otherwise if you give the fixed width, then it doesn't adjust properly and doesn't display properly as well. The next property is border. Very simple, just we are giving the border, and then the next property is very important, the justify content. So justify content is basically is required if you want to put the space between the children. So you can see this navbar has got two children's with the class left and right, okay, and between this you can see there is a space. So this is the space, okay, and this space is there because of this justify content space between property. If you remove this, what will happen is that that space will be on the extreme right side. But what we want to do is we want to divide this navbar into two sections, left side and right side. That's why we have one justify content as space between. And align item center is required if you want to align the items vertically, okay. This is required for vertically aligning these items. Then next is left section and right section. It is very simple again. So left section, again we are putting the flex, and for the right section as well, or the div, we are also we have the display properties flex. So as you can see, flex is very important. Every time you want to, like, you know, adjust the children, arrange the children, the parent of that children should be like flex box. So let us see the left section first of all. So here there is a SVG, then this is the children, first child, then there is a anchor element link, and then there is another link. So by default these children will be displayed like one after another. like in sequence. So it's very simple. We haven't given any specific properties for this CSS properties for this anchors. It is just the padding, background color and margin, that's it. So this space, this white space you see between home and about us, is because of this margin property. Okay, that's it. This is about left section. Then right section, again we have got just 2 anchor elements, that's it. Alright, so let's go to the now next element, that is main. So in here we have got this div with the class main, and inside that there is another div that is with the class row. And as you can see, we have given this display property as flex. The reason being, we want to arrange the children. Okay, we want to arrange the children in this particular row, and there are 3 divs with the class call. So you can give like any class name. This is not like you have to give like call or row. In Bootstrap this convention is used, but it is up to you. If you are using like a plain CSS, plain vanilla CSS, then if you are not using any framework, any kind of framework, then you can give any class name. Okay, so instead of call you can say column or anything, basically any meaningful name you can give. And so we have put this as a flex, and you can see justify content is another very important property. Every time we use it, okay, to arrange these children. So justify content space between. So this space you can see here. So let me just select this. So this space between these divs is because we have given justify content as space between. So if you remove that, you can see by default the space, if there is any, it will be at the end of these children. Okay, so you can see like with justify content you can arrange the children very easily. That's it. That's how you can create the simple layouts using the flex. Not simple, actually you can also build the complex layouts as well. Just 2 things I want to tell here: minimum width property and box sizing. So these 2 things are very important. So minimum width you have to give in such a way that all the elements will fit. For example, we have got these 3 children element, and we want to make sure that these elements will fit inside this row. So what you need to make sure that you need to find out what is the width of that row. Okay, say for example it is inside the main, so we know the width is 900 pixel at this point of time. So what you need to make sure that when you give the min width here, so for all 3 elements, if you sum that, it should be less than 900 pixel. If it is not, then it will not display properly. So for example, if you give here say 500, so you can see it is going beyond that parent element, so which we don't want. That's why you need to make sure that you are calculating the mid width properly. And the next thing that you need to make sure is that box sizing property as border box. So border box is very important. If you don't put border box, what happens is that the elements dimensions are calculated considering the padding, margin, etc. So if you give say minimum width 280 pixel, but what happens is that if you don't put box sizing as border box, this margin and padding is also added into that. Okay, and then actual width will be much more than that, like 320, then 50, like that. So you can see here, if I remove this box sizing property, then again it is going beyond the parent element, and that is because the width is actually increasing. It is considering the padding and margin as well on the top of minimum width. That is what is happening. But if you give box sizing, what happens is that this content area of the elements is reduced. Okay, that's it. If you have more questions, let me know in the comments.